Alright, what is up, y'all? Woo! What's up, guys? It's Andrew Stone here. Hope you guys are doing well during this coronavirus craziness. Anyways, being a photographer during this time, I really have way too much free time on my hands. Honestly, all of my upcoming projects have kind of been put on pause, so I just decided, man, I gotta make use of this time. So in this video, I will be editing my Instagram followers' photos. So without further ado, let's start that video. All right, here. So the first photo we will be editing is by Micah Jaspers. It's actually one of my good friends. Right out of camera, this photo looks really great. I really like the colors, tonality, everything's nice. It's in a nice overcast situation. So first things first, let's put a little crop on this photo. I may go as it was shot, but something like that. Looks pretty good. And then right now we're gonna add, basically, we just want to flatten this out a little bit. Pull down the blacks, lift up those shadows a little bit, pull on some highlights. We want to have a good base kind of starting point, so that's usually what I do right away when I'm editing a photo. Get a little base starting point, something like that. We're gonna put a couple points here on the tone curve. Actually, let's reset this. There you go. Let's add a couple points here. We'll just do 3 points here. Do a pretty typical S curve, something like that. Yeah, we're gonna pull these down, soften out the whites a little bit. And a little pro tip, which most people should know this by now, but hit the backslash button for before and after. So I'm constantly like having a spaz attack before and after when I'm editing photos, just to see the progress I made and kind of what we've actually done to the photo. These midpoints, keep them pretty much where they're at. So we just added a little bit of contrast right there. I might pull this down a bit more, something like that. Looking pretty good. We have a decent starting point here. I think we might pull the highlights down a bit more, pull those whites up a bit, lift the shadows, around 70. It's looking pretty nice, I think. Right now we're gonna actually desaturate the photo just a bit, like -8. We're gonna add a little bit of color back into this photo. So moving on to HSL, I really like the colors just straight out of camera. Like, you know, I can see I haven't really done anything. I might actually add a little bit of green into the tint. It's a little bit much, so we're gonna go, let's just put it at 0. If it wants to work at 0. To me that looks pretty good. And I wanna take advantage of this color, the beautiful colors in the background. You can see there's a lot of green and yellow going on. It must have been fall time, but the photo overall is pretty muted, so let's add a little bit of saturation in the yellows. A little bit much, that's kind of crazy, but we're gonna do like maybe plus 40, something like that. We got a little bit of color in the green too, maybe just like plus 25, something sort of like that. And I don't really want to mess around a lot with the tint of the colors. That was aqua. So we can go for a really like a golden kind of vibe like this if I wanted, but I think I want to keep it pretty natural. Actually, I can't decide. I really can't decide. I think I want to make the yellows and the greens just a little bit to the cooler side. Looks good. We're gonna add a little bit of luminance to our yellows actually in our greens. We want a little more contrast in the photo. And then with that though, I want a little bit more saturation. So it's looking pretty good. I want to add a little bit of saturation to her skin as well and crank it all the way up. It looks like an Oompa Loompa. We don't want that, but just a little bit. I think it looks pretty nice. Maybe a little bit of saturation on our lips as well. Yeah, that's looking nice. And then I may also, no, I think your skin tone looks really good as is. So I'm liking the look of all of this so far. Come down here to blues. She has a little bit of saturation. We could add a little bit of saturation in her jeans, but that's not really noticeable. I might just bring up the luminance a hair, something like that. And then sometimes t-shirts, like gray or white t-shirts, tend to have a little bit of purple and magenta and or blue in them. So nothing going that, let's go into split toning. So here's our before right now and after. I think it's looking good. We brought some life back to the photo, a little bit of color, and we're gonna do some. We may do split toning. We'll see. I usually just feel it out. It just depends what I'm feeling for the photo. So right here, what we may do is a bit of magenta in the highlights and then a little bit of yellowish greens in the shadows. Kind of give it like a film look if we wanted to. Here's before after. I'm thinking probably no for that. It's probably a no-go, but who knows? We could do that. So usually I'll crank up, as you were seeing, I'll like crank up the color just to see like what we're actually adding into the highlights. Same thing with shadows, and then I'll obviously tone it down. I don't want that much. So I don't really know if I really want any of that. So actually what I might do is just do about that much, and then we're gonna add a little bit of warmth to this. Nothing too crazy, probably just like that, so we can flip the switch on and off just to see what we did. Just warmed it up a hair like that. Might add a bit more white, a little bit extra contrast. That's what we're looking at right now. I really like it. And then we're gonna do some really minor spot removal. We don't even need to go to Photoshop for this one. So let's take a spot removal brush, maybe just get rid of some of these tiny, this stuff really doesn't matter, to be honest. I'd say just get rid of that one little spot. Looks pretty nice except this, whatever the heck you did here. Not a big fan of that, whatever that just did. Alright, that is looking pretty good. I'm gonna take my glasses off actually. Sometimes, so I use blue light glasses, but they will essentially warm up the hue of your photo. So sometimes when I like have them on and I'm editing for hours on end and I take them off, I'm like, wait, this photo actually looks too cool. So it's a little tip for you. Sometimes you got to take them off. But then again, like the point of wearing them is to protect your eyes from staring at the screen all day. So can't win them all. All right, so I warmed up the photo just a little bit. I think that's looking good. What I might do too, really quickly here, a little brush. We're just gonna go right on the brown here. Not even on the white, just the brown. And we're gonna brush in, just bring back a tiny bit of shadows on this photo. Yeah, probably something like, we'll add a little bit of texture too. Something like that, so when you zoom out, it's just subtle, like too much, and it'll look disgusting. So I like that, and then we might also add a little radio filter. Sometimes I do this for fun. Go like that, and then we're gonna invert it actually, and then you can click on it and then hit D, and you can see what's being affected there. So actually we need to bring this up even more. Just want to make sure, yeah, that looks pretty good. Bring this out a bit, and then all we're gonna do is turn down. We're not gonna do this and make anything crazy. Might actually pull up the shadows a bit, and then turn down the clarity so you can see it's very subtle, but we might just smooth out the photo just a hair more. So we've got that going on for us. I'm trying to decide if I want more. There you go. Bump up the shadows a bit, the contrast, something like so, and I might adjust my crop just a bit. All right, so we've got before, and there's the after. I like it. Looks really good. All right, on to our next photo. This one is by Dan Koistra. I don't really know how to pronounce it. I'm sorry if I'm botching your name. Dan Koistra. He actually, when he sent me this photo, he said this is somewhere in Spain. So Looks really cool. So for this photo, I mean, there's a lot of different directions we could take. I think this is a type of photo I would maybe have a little bit of fun with creatively. So right away, there's nothing really as far as like straightening goes. There's no lines that tell where we have to straighten, but I'm not really gonna do much as far as cropping. I want to leave in that little thing, whatever the heck this little, I don't know what it is. Let's see, some kind of like cabin thing. I like these leading lines. You can see they're both walking up to this little cabin, whatever it is. I kind of like this lifestyle adventure photo. So let's get started on a little edit here. I do have presets, and sometimes I scroll through them, just preview them to see if maybe there's a good starting point for our photos. So I may end up using one and then obviously tweaking and adjusting as needed. So some of these are like my more film-esque presets. So I think what I might do is we're gonna go here. I like this. I definitely want this photo to be a bit warm. And I don't want to pull the highlights all the way down, but I'm already liking kind of where we've started. So I'm going to the tone curve right here. I might readjust some stuff. Pull these highlights down a bit. The whites will smooth that out a bit, so it's already looking a bit better. Yeah. So like I said, I usually start off with the tone curve typically, just to kind of give your photos a base. That's typically when I'm editing, that's what gives your photos that look, so to say. So have a pretty consistent tone curve. Photo has a similar tonality all the way through. So you can see right here, I might pull these blacks down a bit. This photo, I actually want a little bit of fade. So we're gonna do, so if you can see in the blacks here, got a little bit of fade going on. So if I pull them all the way, we get a little bit of detail. So we lose a bit of detail, but I kind of like that look. So just for this photo, we're gonna a little bit of matte look. So I don't usually even do much in the RGB, but for this photo we might go into blues, and then man, I like the warmth in the shadows. I think it's fun. But even in the highlights too, I like that. So we might, can't decide. You know, we can play around with this forever, but keep that as is. I'm liking that. All right. So let's go over to our colors right here. A bit of saturation into his jacket. I really want him to pop, and maybe add some luminance too. We want him to stand out a bit. Maybe like so. Add a bit of luminance in the orange. And then pull some color back. Let's go maybe like 20 around there. Our yellows too. Obviously you're gonna get a good bit of color in the trees. You'll see a trend a lot nowadays, people completely cranking down the saturation on the yellows. It works for maybe 5% of photos, but keep those colors in there. It looks really nice. So we like that. We love that. And blue as well. I want some color back in here. Let's go to blues. And this is always just a creative decision. Do we want more aqua tint or more of a magenta in our blues? I want it pretty neutral. I might go a bit more aqua actually on this one. So yeah. And then with the yellows, we'll pull them to the left a bit. The greens will pull them the other way. Good already. I'm gonna lift these blues up actually, just to get it on his jacket, and then I might gradient flip to the top of the sky. So yeah. we're gonna make these pop as well. Not too much, but like the yellows to pop actually. No, I changed my mind. I like them up a bit. So split toning, this is the fun part. With this preset, it already had some split toning going on. So without the split toning we're there, with it, a little bit of warmth. I like that. So we got some warm shadows. Highlights are warm as well, which I may change it. I actually might bump up the saturation on this. I really like, this is what we're looking at right now. I like that warmth. I think it looks really nice. I think a nice complement to the orange in the shadows typically is a nice bluish, just blue in general. Looks nice, obviously, with those complementary colors, but with this, we're not going to do that. I like this warmth, like that golden glow. You can see if I crank it up. It's a bit much, but maybe right about there, like that. Just adds to that warm feeling. This looks like, to me, this looks like they're marching up for sunrise, or it could be sunset. Very well, it probably is sunset, but either way, I like that. So, no, we're not going to add grain at all. I'd say, here's what I'll do. Add a bit of a gradient filter. Maybe put some more blue in here. With the saturation just a hair. We don't necessarily need to raise highlights at all. That looks good. Awesome. This is kind of where it's affecting the photo, so I don't want it to get in his hair like crazy or anything, but adds a little bit of nice gradient right there. Awesome, I'm really liking the photo. And then there's a lot of vignette, which we're gonna go to lens corrections, enable profile. So that changes up a lot when you do that, obviously. So it's pretty crazy what happens when you do that. So if we switch back, a lot of vignette, which actually I do want a bit of vignette, just a tish. I like never use vignette anymore. Anyways, so sometimes I'll crank it all the way up just to see how like the roundness, whatever, affects it. I want it like somewhere like that. I want to feather it quite a bit, yeah. But we're gonna do like maybe 14, 13. Yeah, that looks nice. So just a little bit, make it subtle, and we might actually also, I might darken this photo up still. I kind of liked how it was, and this will kind of add to draw attention to them as the subject. We're gonna darken this up and pull down the shadow. Well, yeah, pull down the shadows a bit, going down, and then we're gonna duplicate this. It's just a little pro tip. Flip her around. Whoa. Actually, we're not gonna do that. We're just gonna brush in the side just a bit. Kind of like that. Really rough, doesn't have to be perfect. And then pull down that exposure ever so slightly. Yeah, I'm liking that. So I like this photo. I think you could take a couple different directions on it. I could add some grain. I think that'd be fun. Shot this at 2.8, so it's good enough. We may also, I want to soften up this photo just a hair. And so what I'm going to do is do another fun radio filter. I want both of them in focus. Technically none of them are really in focus perfectly, but he's a little bit more in focus. My eyes are typically drawn to him. But we're going to do another fun radio filter. Invert it, and then we'll just turn down the clarity. So, like so. Oops. Alright, D. Looking good. I need to pull this back a bit more. Let's see there. Awesome. So we're gonna, like I said, turn down that clarity, like minus 35 or something like that. Looks pretty good. All right, and then maybe turn up whites a bit more. like that photo. Looks good. All right, next photo is by Ivan Amson, another one of my good friends. So we're gonna straighten this guy out. Still needs to be straightened, in my opinion. Awesome. Get that horizontal line nice. And for this shot, I actually don't think I'm gonna crop much at all. I kind of like it wide. It was shot at 35mm 3.2. But yeah, let's get started on this photo. So this is a JPEG too, so there's not quite as much information in this, so I guess we can't do quite as much as I would with a raw file, but that's okay. So let's go to the tone curve here, throw a couple points on bad boy, hold on those blacks, and then I don't want these whites cranked up, so we're just gonna highlights and the whites down a bit, soften it up. Awesome, looking good. So there you go, there's all that detail, there's that good detail. Put on the blacks a bit. Pull down the highlights a little bit, flip the whites just a bit, maybe exposure one click. Yeah, I'm liking that already. Photo is a bit too magenta for my liking, so we're gonna pull down the tint, maybe -3 or so, and then we can also mess with the hues of the reds and the oranges, which affect the skin tone, which is what I'm always looking for with a portrait like this. And it's difficult, it's winter, and the light is reflecting all the blue you can see. I'm just gonna mess with that just a bit, like that. Looks pretty good. All right, add a little bit of saturation maybe. We want that shirt to pop, not too much. Don't want his face to pop too much either. All right, yellows really don't have much going on. There's the blue. We could crank the blue up, but that looks disgusting. And we could pull them down, but it looks just too fake if we did that, and then too flat. So I think actually I don't know, it's a hard decision. Let's bring the luminance on the reds and oranges a little bit, like so, and then we might do a little bit of split toning. We could always do a whole bunch of blue in the shadows if we really wanted to, and then, you know, this is kind of a cinematic type of editing style. Not a huge fan of it. To me, it's still a bit too, yeah. What I might actually do is, I kind of like that red. I normally don't do this, but might do some red. Pull that down a bit. That's a bit much. And then maybe for the highlights, even a bit more towards like the yellowish green. I kind of like that. I don't know why, but I kind of like it. There's full screen, but it's kind of weird, but I kind of like it. Like, I don't know, but I think I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna go a little more natural. To me, that's looking pretty good. So we might also mess around with the hues. I might pull the blues. Whoa, not that much. Just a little bit aqua. Yeah. Same thing with the purple. Might make that actually a bit more warm. So something like that. We'll pull these up a bit. Yeah, I really like that. And then I might brush them. I can't decide. I feel like this is a tough photo, especially since it's a JPEG. There's not quite as much I could do with it. Maybe bring up the whites a little bit more, make them pop. Bring up those shadows. Yeah, I think that looks good. Maybe we'll crop in a bit. All right, I like it. There's the before, and there's the after. We'll go full screen for you. Awesome. Next photo is by my buddy Alexander Martin. So this is an awesome photo. I love this, by the way. you killed this straight out of camera. I'm like, dang, this doesn't need much. I didn't need it all. Just a couple minor things and I think we'll be good to go. So first of all, I love the colors. I can tell you styled this, so good work, man. Good work. If you're watching this, good work, bro. So right away, let's toss a couple points on that tone curve. Add a little bit of contrast, pull those blacks down. Ooh, that's looking nice. Ooh. Loving that. And then we're gonna pull that down a bit. Those highlights. All right, that's what we're starting off with. That already looks a little bit better. Pull up these shadows a bit. Blacks come down. Highlights down. Exposure up a bit. Pull the highlights down a bit more. Exposure up. So this photo is really nice. It's a raw file too. Praise God. And there's a lot more detail in this, and the light is really good. So here's what we're looking at already. Getting some more detail back. I don't want to pull the highlights all the way down, but I think maybe like -75, something like that. Looking really nice. I love these oranges. We could have some fun with split toning if we wanted to. Maybe add some blue in the shadows and then some, yeah, maybe some orange in the highlights. Make it kind of filmy. But I don't want to do that for this one. This kind of photo, you could do the opposite too. You could throw some blue in the highlights, which actually I might do. Hard to decide. I don't know. You can make this photo really cinematic and throw some greens in there and make it like really fun and film-like. You know what? We might do that. We're gonna do this. So what I did was throw a little bit of teal in the highlights. So you can see in her skin. Oh, it's not perfect, but I like that. We're gonna make this a bit film-esque. Can't decide. Yeah, like that. And then we're gonna add a little bit of grain in here. I don't know. I usually just kind of make it up like 55, 25, 30. You can see before, after, adding some grain. Maybe a bit more, maybe like 60. Yeah, looks good. And then maybe we will fade this a bit. Soften it up just a bit like that, and then maybe add another point. I can't decide. Actually, I want to delete that point. No. I like it. I'll maybe even flatten this out a bit more. It's kind of fun. I like this photo a lot. Like it a lot. Lift up the shadows maybe actually, and then bring it down. Pull these guys down a bit again too. I want this photo to look a bit flatter. So you can see what we're doing with those blues and oranges. I might crop just a hair. And then let's go into colors. We might mess with the hues a bit, but besides that, I really like these oranges. They're just, oof, they look really nice, really tasty. Don't really want to desaturate. I might actually, yeah, I don't know. It's a tough call. Pull these down a bit. Obviously brighten these up a lot too if you wanted to. Maybe hair, just like that. We might mess around with the oranges, the hue. We could go crazy. Whoa, make them completely red. Not a big fan. I really like, maybe we'll do like -2. Yeah, I like that. Alexander did a great job on this one. All right, next photo is by another one of my friends, Norm the Hunk. Happy birthday. I'm filming this on your birthday. So, bro, I love you. Anywho, let's get to this photo. This is of one of his friends too, who I know. He is a model. Amazing dude. Yeah, we're gonna start off with a little crop. I can't decide how I want to crop this. So I don't really like that light. Yeah, we like that. Looks good. So nice little crop there. I'm using these lines to straighten it. And let's see what we can do. This photo I feel like would look really cool as a kind of a film vibe. I think it would look really sweet. So I'm looking over some of these presets right here. There's a lot of different directions you could take with this. So either this is kind of a disposable look, kind of in between, a little more pink, and then I like the tones on this. I like the blue and orange. So just kind of some blue in the shadows and some orangish yellow in the highlights. So I like this, kind of a good starting point. It's a bit soft, so we'll get rid of that clarity reduction and add a little bit more saturation. Looking better already. And then I think let's look at the tone curve right here. So we faded the crap out of those blacks. So I want some more contrast. We'll fade them a bit, but not quite as much as I did. Yeah, looking better already. And then we'll delete that point. We don't even need that. Yeah, I want these pretty soft again, like so. And then let's lower that. That's looking good. No, I like that detail. We're gonna add a little more contrast. Let's pull down the exposure a bit. Awesome, it's looking good. I like this. I'm sorry guys, I did use a preset, yes, but I just want to show that like you can't just, for the most part, you don't, at least I don't just slap on a preset and call it good. So yeah, this is where it's fun too. We can mess with these oranges. I think his skin, I think it looks really good where it's at. The yellows, I want to add a bit of, put these more towards the green side to complement that skin tone. I'm going to add some saturation in those yellows and in the skin. That's looking better. Let's see, I think, yeah, there's going to be a good bit of blues in there. Make those a little bit more teal-ish. Like that a lot. A bit of color back in there. Let's lift up the luminance on the blues. Actually, we want that to pop a nice little bit. Same thing with the background. There we go. And then we have some grain on here already. I'm gonna pull it down a bit. I do like the grain. We're gonna keep the grain. We're going with it. Yeah. So let's zoom in, see what we got that grain going. Awesome, looking good. Like that. And then let's, here's before and there's after. I really like it. Alright guys, that wraps everything up. Once again, thanks for watching. This honestly was super fun. I just find a lot of joy in editing photos in general, so you guys killed it. You guys have some amazing photos. So yeah, if you want to see a part 2 of this, just send me your photos, DM me, shoot me an email, send me raw photos, and I would love to do a part 2 of this and edit your photos. And most importantly, never stop creating.